I went to Kolebu to see the cardiologist. She also did her test and referred me to the nephrologist.
Yeah.
So it was at the nephrology state that it came out that the results of my kidney function were at the end stage.
Good day and welcome to another edition of the Lowdown here on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. Today I've got a special guest, a guest that can best be described as very brave because he has decided to open up and shed some light onto his personal struggles with kidney organ failure. He's a brave man because he's in dire need of a transplant to save his life and to return to some normalcy. My guest is Phillip Atawura, who's a lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. His case is one that has been widely publicized in the media, and if you follow the media, you would have heard about it. Today, we speak to him about the challenges of this disease and how it has affected his normal life, and maybe shed some light into why government must pass a legislation about organ harvesting and organ donation in our country. My name is Daniel Oduro. This promises to be a very revealing interview, and I hope we'll learn some lessons from it. Good day, sir, and welcome to the Lowdown on Ghanaweb TV.
Hi, good afternoon.
You've not spoken openly about your situation, as far as I know.
Yes.
The news about you needing a transplant, a donor, and raising funds has been widely publicized, but you've never spoken openly and publicly about it. Is there a reason?
Yes. The reason being that I'm working with a team, and we decided to keep this as a family issue and not to make it public. Bearing in mind the work I do and the fact that I've had a lot of people contact with a lot of people. We didn't want to have that public outcry that will come with it. So we tried as much as possible to keep it to ourselves for 2 years now.
Wow, 2 years?
Yes, since my first diagnosis. It's been 2 years since I was diagnosed, and we've managed to keep it just to ourselves and to individuals or people who only matter.
Yeah. I need to actually say thank you for agreeing to open up about your condition, because like you said, it's very private and personal. But how did you come to know about your condition? You said your first diagnosis was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What occasioned it?
Okay, so I actually don't know what caused it initially.
Okay.
But what made me to seek medical attention was as a result of leukemia. That's swelling of the leg,
Okay.
the feet. So after school one day, when I got home, I realized I developed swollen feet. But I thought it was one of those things, and by the time I rest and wake up the next day, I should be fine. But I woke up the next day and the fluid was still there. So a second day came, the fluid had not, gone down yet. So I was like, okay, let me speak to a friend who is a pharmacist. But when I spoke to my friend, he was asking about my blood pressure and all of that. And he was thinking it might have something to do with my pressure. But he advised that I see the doctor after that. he gave me some ointment to apply, and then that was it. So I went to the hospital. It's popularly called Akawi.
Right.
It's at Makati Hill. Yeah. And that was when they started diagnosing. But even at the time, it was still not seen as a kidney problem. It was seen as a heart issue.
Okay.
So I did a lot of thoracic, or let me say chest regional tests, x-rays, and other stuff, because I was getting tired quicker.
Yeah.
My energy levels dropped. I couldn't do 5% of the kind of activities I used to do. So the concern was my heart.
Yeah.
I was there for about 2 months.
At the hospital?
Yes.
On admission? Or you go
No,
and...
I go and come.
Okay.
I was on outpatient.
Okay.
So the doctors over there said they've done all the tests they can, but they've realized that whatever it is, the side effects is on my heart,
Okay.
but they don't seem to know what it is, and it is not my heart either. So they referred me to the Kolegu Teaching Hospital to see a cardiologist. I went to Kolegu to see the cardiologist. She also did her test and referred me to the nephrologist.
Yeah.
So it was at the nephrology state that it came out that the results of my kidney function were at the end stage.
Wow.
Which when the results came at the time, I was running on 7%, or less. They wrote a 7 mil per something. Yeah.
Okay.
Per minute, second squared or so. Yeah. So that's the function. That was the function. Meaning, I've come to the end of my kidneys.
Yeah.
They've come to their end. So what it means is I need to be placed on what today we call transplant,
Okay.
or dialysis.
Yeah.
So those were the two options. Either you do a transplant or you go for dialysis. But as an emergency plan,
Yeah.
you have to do the dialysis,
Yeah.
because if you want to wait to do the transplant, you don't
Yeah.
know when you are going to get a donor, how long it will take you to get a donor. So the best thing is to start with the dialysis. So in fact, I did not even go home on that day. The nephrologist insisted that I should be given a bed immediately. And that was the beginning of my issue, like the diagnosis.
Yeah.
That's when I realized what was wrong with me eventually, after 2 months of
Tests.
running tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This must have been a very rude awakening, or the
Yes.
life that you know it to be had suddenly changed.
Yes.
What was your immediate reaction after the results came out?
You know, those who know me know I'm very active
Yeah.
with whatever I do. Now, when the sudden change happened, sudden because there was no announcement, there were no signs or indications that something was wrong with me, until the very day that I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Nothing showed that there was something wrong with me. Even the day that I was told I'm suffering from end-stage kidney disease. I walked to the hospital, from the Kolebo entrance to the medical ward. It's quite a distance.
Yeah.
But I walked from the
All by
entrance to,
yourself?
yes, all by myself. And from there, I was going back to school. So initially I was surprised that I didn't believe it.
Okay.
That no,
You were in
that's
denial.
not so. Yes, I was in the denial stage until the doctor told me to sit and wait for a nurse to come for me to the ward. I was like, okay, fine. I thought the nurse was just coming and say, oh, Philip, can we go? But when the nurse came, she came with a wheelchair. And I was like, is this how pathetic my situation has become? And I was told the nurse that, oh, I can't walk. She said, no, my condition is such that she can't guarantee what will happen next if I should walk. And that was the turning point for me. Everything became gloomy. Everything became dark. It was just tears that was flowing. And that was when I had to actualize the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was in a deep mess. And I couldn't control myself at that point. It was difficult. Yeah. That you wake up, you know you are going to work, you are just passing through hospital for your results, and you ended up being on admission bed. It wasn't easy, especially to break the news to family and friends.
Yeah.
Was very difficult. Yeah, it was very difficult.
How did you break the news to the family?
Yes, so I did that on phone because, as I said, I was alone when I went to pick the test. So first of all, I called my fiancée and informed her about it. And then she was the first to come to the hospital to buy the things I needed for my admission. And then the next was my colleague at work. So these are the only two people I informed. And of course, they also informed others. Yeah, so that's how the news or the information was broken to them.
This is still the Lowdown on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. Today, I speak with a man who's graciously agreed to open up about his personal struggles with us. He's suffering from kidney organ failure, and he needs a transplant as soon as possible to return to a semblance of normalcy as far as his life is concerned. He's still a lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, and this disease has not taken away his ability to impact lives at the institute. He still teaches despite his condition, and today he's just finished his lectures and we've agreed to do this interview. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been monitoring Ghanaweb. We've been doing a lot of education about organ transplant and organ donation in Ghana. There's no legislation comprehensively that deals with organ transplant. At this point, the only way that you get a transplant, especially with regards to kidney, is if it is coming from a relative or a family member. If you need a transplant from someone who is outside of your family, there's no legislation, and for which reason the doctors in Ghana, and Kolebu to be precise, are unable to perform a transplant on you. It means you need to travel outside the shores of this country to get that kind of treatment. We'll go for our first break. When we return, we'll ask Philip about his challenges and some of the things that he would need from Ghanaians as he attempts to return to his normal life. Stay with us. We're back after this break.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment.
Wow.
Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy. Oh.
McBerry Twist cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. Today my guest is Phillip Atawura, a lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, and he's sharing his personal story with us. We don't usually invade the privacy of people, but this is important and a national conversation that needs to be had, and he's graciously agreed to share his journey with us. So Phillip, how has this changed your life? I mean, 2 years, dialysis is very expensive, we are told. You need about 3 sessions every week at an average of about 500 or 400 cedis. You've been on this for 2 years.
Yeah.
It must be draining on your finances, on your normal routine that you know.
Yes, that is true. But for me, my biggest challenge is my time. The time that this whole thing is taken away from me, the dialysis session is taken away from you. On an average of 6 hours per session, that's prepping you for the machine, about 30-40 minutes. Then you're on the machine for at least 4 hours, and then after that you another 15-20 minutes to get you off the machine. Time to me is the most important thing, because it is something you can't buy.
Yeah.
But people often look at the money. Yes, the money drains, but I think for me, considering my age, my ambitions, and my vision in life, and the plans I have, time is of essence, and that is what I feel most affected. And the reason why I said the finances, yes, it has impacted my life, but not that much, is because I had a good support system.
Okay.
But not to say that it is so with everyone else. For majority of the kidney patients, especially when we meet at the hospital or on informal basis, everybody seems to be talking about the financial hardship.
Yeah.
But I have been fortunate that I have a good support system from the Ghana Institute of Journalism. I also have a good support system from my church, SS Peter and Paul Catholic Church. I also have my family and friends who are often there to support. I have those who are also encouraging me psychologically so that I don't break down, which is another important aspect of
That's true.
going through this process.
true.
Other than that, you even die before your time.
Yeah.
So I have Senna Intercon who encourages me psychologically briefs me, encourages me, because he has also had a similar experience, though it is not kidney, but he's also had a life-threatening challenge, and he uses that to always encourage me. And then I also have one Mr. and Mrs. Berima, who are also there financial-wise. Most of it, every month, they push something to me. I am mentioning these organizations and people because of the tremendous role they have played financially, spiritually, psychologically, to ensure that I am still kicking alive till this point. But yes, financial burden is number one for most patients, because you can't be sick and also be thinking of where to get money. That's double. That's double. So it's a big challenge. If I recall, there was this situation when I was at Kolebu. There was this boy who used to come from Eduejiri in the eastern region, because yes, I don't know if now Uncle Florida has a dialysis center, but at the time there wasn't, and he had to always make that journey. He sets off around 3:30 a.m. to Kolebu, and for 2 weeks he didn't come. When he came, he had developed an infection. Why? Because he didn't have money for dialysis at the time. And at the time, a session was 320 cedis. That was somewhere September 2021. A session was 320 cedis. And he didn't. And for some time, I didn't hear about him, not knowing he died along the line because of the financial, burdens. So yes, it is true. It's draining, but with a good support system in place, you should be able to maneuver. So that's why you still see me in class. Also because doctor advises, I still go about my normal activities so that I don't feel burdened by the disease. It helps you to forget or to stop thinking about it, and then to face life differently.
Has this tested your faith in God?
Yes, it has. As a faith-believing or as a Christian.
You question why you?
Initially, but now no. Yes, because the reason being that He created us, and the Creator can always make changes to what they have created. They can always introduce new things to what they have created, and they can also take from what they've created. And you don't expect the creation to ask questions. That's why. Because He could have created me like an albino, in quote, somebody without a leg, somebody without a hand, right from my mother's womb. You get it? But that was not so. He waited until I got to this stage and said, oh, okay, this is it. So no, that question of why me is no longer there. It's no longer there. Because I believe He's at liberty to do with me as He pleases. Yes.
The question many will ask is that if you have family, somebody should be able to be brave enough to say, because our doctors, in our recent encounters with the doctors, they say you could live on 25% of one kidney.
Yes.
So someone could give up one of their kidneys for you. Has nobody in your family come forth?
Okay. So I have a peculiar situation. One, I'm the only child of my parents. Two, my mother is late. and I'll talk about that in a bit. My mom died on the 27th of September 2021
So about the same period.
from end-stage kidney. That was 2 weeks after I'd been
Diagnosed.
discharged from the hospital from Kolebu. It was then that I knew the source or the cause of my kidney challenge. I was told it was hereditary when I was on admission, but I didn't know whether it was from my mother or it was from my father. But when my mom's own manifested, then I realized that, so it was from my mother's end. So yes, she would have been the best person to donate in when you look at the family setup and who cares for who. But unfortunately, she's late. My father too is in no position to donate due to age. Yes. And then, so that's it. I have no one.
Yeah.
Next is to fall on cousins or aunties and uncles. Two of my uncles came forward, but their group didn't match. They were ABs and then 1B. Same with my cousins. They also came forward, but they were all Bs and ABs. So I had a total of 7 people who were willing and our family to donate. But when they ran the test, their blood group was different from mine. So that meant that I had to keep on talking to other family members. But after some point in time, you realize that those that came forward are the only ones who are willing. So because of that, I don't have a donor.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you make of the fact that this could have been done in Ghana if there was legislation for people outside of your family to come forward and donate, but because there's no legislation, the doctors here are unable to do that?
Yeah.
Were you told that at the hospital that this could have been done if the laws allowed it?
until this whole issue came up, I didn't know much about the health sector. Because I wasn't a hospital person. So this rather exposed me to issues that I should have paid attention to, but didn't, because I felt I was not sick. So just like everyone else, we all don't see the need to talk about certain things until they happen to us. So yes, it's really a good thing that we look at it, but I was told, that was when I realized that transplant or organ donation is not as simple as Kwesi, come, let me donate for you. There are legal implications. There, aside the medical tests and labs and everything, there are legislations that actually can prevent you from receiving organ from people, even when they can just get up and say, I want to give to you. It's not as simple as you may see it. So yes, the legislations currently in Ghana is that until the person is family, they cannot donate, simply because the organ donation should be a donation and not for exchange for
financial
reward or something. It should come freely. But because they can't guarantee how free it is coming when it's coming from a stranger or an outsider, that is why there's that insistence on it being family. And even with family, often immediate or your close family, not entirely the extended.
Okay. This it's a very emotional interview, one of the emotional ones I have done, but it's for a good purpose and a good cause. We're still educating the Ghanaian public about organ donation in our country and the lack of legislation surrounding it. Today my guest is Phillip Atawura, who's opening up about his personal struggle with kidney organ failure. Phillip, before we round up our conversation, is there any message you would like to give to young people, young ambitious people, have no signs, just like you, and just woke up one day and your life has changed?
Yes, but I want to find out if we are done with the legislation.
Yes.
I have something more to say with the legislation.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I am a political economist. Like, that's where most of my research is based on, even though within the media. And as part of asking questions about policy and about cost of doing dialysis in Ghana, because as I speak at my center, Kolebu cannot take all of us. So after admission, you go, they give you a list of centers, and then you pick the one which is closer to you. At the moment, my center, a session is 650 cedis. And then that's just the dialysis. It's 650. You have to take what we call EPO and iron injection so that your blood levels do not drop. There are two ways that your blood levels drop. One, the kidney does not produce the iron needed for blood production. So obviously after some time your blood will drop if you have a kidney issue. And then two, because the blood passes through the dialyzer or the machine, obviously at the end of every session there's some amount of blood that is taken up by the machine. So you need to always be on these medications to give you that optimum level of blood. And that is 230 cedis. So you add 230 cedis to 650 Ghana cedis.
Almost 900 cedis.
Yes, so that's what I pay per session.
And you do how many?
I do twice a session. Yes, a week. So we are looking at about 1,800 thereabouts. Yes, for just 2 sessions of dialysis.
Wow.
Yes, and when the economy challenges also came, it also impacted because all these, the material that we use for dialysis are imported. And today, especially from last 3 months, there's been an increase in the price of dialysis. Of course, moving from 320 cedis to 900 cedis in just 2 years should tell you what the exchange rate has done to us. So I believe that if government wants to help dialysis patients, they can. So yes, government has to do more for us. The media is doing its best, but we all know we can only bring the issues to the people. We can't force the implementers to implement. So the media will do its part, but if you have somebody who is constantly pushing, lobbying, I think we will also go far with these things. So now to your issue about the youth
Yeah.
and somebody who is going through this.
Yeah.
I think I see things differently because of the way my condition is, because it is a hereditary. It's not a lifestyle that led me to this, but I know other people who have this condition as a result of lifestyle. One lifestyle which is a major contributor is the issue of buying medications for sexual enhancement,
Right.
and then also medications which are not prescribed are one of the major causes of kidney issues in Ghana, besides those of us who might have inherited it. So my advice is the youth should stay away from these medications. Even paracetamol can damage you.
Yeah.
Yes. So please, anytime you are not feeling well, it's better you see a medical doctor or a registered pharmacist
Okay.
to assist you get the right medication. Not knowing, growing up, I had a lot of headaches, and anytime I had a headache, I take paracetamol, not knowing those headaches were actually signs of the kidney malfunction. Had I known,
Yeah.
if I'd gone to the hospital for proper diagnosis, they might have seen it.
Yeah.
And according to the consultant, I would have lived about 15 more years before dialysis, but it was too late. So I would advise that people should go to the hospitals anytime they are sick.
Okay.
And over there, when they run the necessary labs and tests, I'm sure the right diagnosis will be made so that you don't end up taking something, maybe your stomach is hurting, you go and buy painkiller, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of organs in the tummy.
Okay. I'll ask you my final questions. So it's two in one. First of all, I mean, the media was trying to help to raise funds. I think they quoted about 700,000. I'm not sure if it is correct, but have you received enough funding so far? And then how quickly do you need this transplant done?
Okay, so yes, our total cost was about $64,000, which when we converted at the time was about 700,000.
Okay.
Yes, we've made progress. We've raised more than 550,000 now. We hope that in the coming weeks we should be able to exhaust our target. And so yes, but that also means I need to get a donor.
Yeah.
So the donor hunt is also ongoing. Yeah, hopefully more people will come on board.
Okay.
The thing is that there's a fear factor
Yeah.
that a lot of people encounter. So we are still talking to people that it is not that dangerous to donate an organ.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing your story and your journey with us. We pray that you get a donor and you return to some normalcy or return to your normal life. I see you are passionate about teaching and lecturing and impacting the next generation, and we hope that there's more years ahead for you. So thank you once again.
All right.
My name is Daniel Oduro. This has been another edition of The Lowdown. We've been interacting with Phillip Atawura, a lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, about his journey with kidney organ failure and a search for a donor for him as soon as possible. We hope you learned something. We hope there will be action on the lack of legislation about organ harvesting and organ donation in Ghana. We'll be back another time with another edition of The Lowdown. Until then, it's bye for now.